here. We're here this morning to hear from Chief Parrish regarding an incident that our officers were involved in this morning. You'll hear from Chief Parrish, and then there will be some time for questions afterward. Captain Holbrook will keep us limited on some time. There's an active investigation going on, so we have to get back to that. He'll let you know when we're out of time for questions. And with that, Chief Parrish.
Hey, good morning. As Captain said, my name is Jay Parrish, Jayparrish. I am the Chief of the Gainesville Police Department. I'm joined with Sheriff Chris Matthews, as their team was also involved in this incident last night and into the early morning hours of this morning. We received a phone call last night about 10:30 from a lady stating that she was in fear for her life, that she was involved in a domestic incident. She gave a description of the suspect and stated that he was armed. Our officers responded to the Sunset Heights subdivision and began to fan out and look for both the caller as well as the suspect. Once we located the caller, she led us to a secondary residence from the first incident where she thought he may be. There was another family, a lady and two children inside that residence, and that homeowner indicated that the suspect had entered into her home. He was known to her, and she didn't know why he was entering, but he needed refuge and he came in. She invited us into the residence. Our early officers went in, found him, at which time he presented a gun and shot and hit one of our officers. And I'll talk a little bit more about that strike in just a moment. Our officer returned gunfire while heroically two of our other officers went in and pulled the female and the two children to safety. The suspect tried to exit out the back of the residence where he engaged officers on the back and again got into gunfight with him. This was all before midnight. Everything indicated that the only person struck during that initial encounter was our officer. We then called for the SWAT team that's under the command of Sheriff Matthews. They responded to the scene as well as their negotiators. We had a phone number, we were able to establish contact with the suspect, and had off and on negotiations that were somewhat erratic for about 3 hours. That escalated, and during that time, the suspect started shooting from inside the residence again. There was more gunfire. No one was struck. The SWAT team developed a plan. At this time, we had warrants, active warrants for him for aggravated assault in that first shooting of hitting our officer. And as the SWAT team encountered him, he retreated and tried to come out the front door. There was one SWAT operator and two Gainesville police officers in the front yard that he engaged in a lot of gunfire, and we returned gunfire, and sadly he has succumbed to his injuries. No other deputies or officers were injured in that second round of gunfire. I want to talk about God's hand and the protection of our officer. As you can see on the screen, our officer was wearing his two-way radio mic right here, and the bullet hit just below his throat into the radio mic and was caught by his ballistic vest. We will share pictures that I have on the screen with each of your outlets at the conclusion of this press conference. So our officer is okay. He was saved by both the mic and by our ballistic vest, and we are very thankful for that. This was a serious and very tragic incident. There were several deputies and several police officers that were involved in all three encounters. It's traumatic to them. My thoughts and prayers go out to the family of the deceased. It is not our job as law enforcement officers to take lives. Our job is to protect lives. But this morning, the early morning hours, our hand was forced. And my heart goes to his family, to the victims that were at the residence that were heroically rescued by our officers on scene, and then importantly, this is a healing process for our officers too. It's not what they come to work to do every day. And so I want to thank the community. I really want to thank the Sunset Heights neighborhood. Some of them probably didn't get much sleep last night, but they were very cordial to our teams that were out there, understood the gravity of what was going on, and it was just a great time that they helped us. So at this time, I'll take any questions that y'all may have.
Chief, was there 2 other officers we heard went to the hospital as well or hurt in the actual standoff or the shootout part? Or?
Thank you for that question. So in the very first 2, both of those officers that were involved in the shooting, one hit and the other one that returned fire, did go to the hospital, and it's protocol because of the traumatic heart rate and things like that. So did the second 2 later in the morning. So we did have 4 officers total go to the hospital. 2 of those, or 3 of those have been released. I'm not sure what the status of the 4th one is, other than they're ambulatory, but some of them were in shock after the incident.
It wasn't physical, like they weren't hurt during their...
Correct. It was all for shock, heart rate, and some of that internal trauma, yeah.
Gotcha.
Was the subdivision at any point ever evacuated? I know you said he was shooting from inside the home.
No, the home was secluded enough that we felt that it's down a hill and kind of in a valley, that we didn't feel from where he was, and it's a brick structure that we were worried about secondary gunfire. We knew he was in the basement at the time before he retreated up to the front door, and so we felt like he was barricaded himself enough not to put others in danger.
Where did this start at that house? I've been out there where the SWAT vehicle ended. That was the house where it ended. You said it started at...
So the caller was at a different house in the neighborhood, and unfortunately I don't remember exactly what house that was, but he had fled that house prior to our...
house and went to another neighbor's house to call police? Or?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand that.
But she lives in the house that he retreated into?
Not the original caller.
Not the original caller.
Correct, yes. You had a question, ma'am?
Is there a relationship between the original caller and the man?
She knew him, she knew his name, and was able to give us, so that would be a huge assumption. And I should have mentioned this, the GBI is handling all of that, and so some of the minutiae of those details, I'm leaving up to them and just giving you the briefing as it was given to me.
But the original caller is not the same woman who was in the house?
That's correct, yes, that's correct. The original caller is not who was at the second house that we located him at.
Do you have any history there? I mean, have you been called out there? We know there's maybe some, obviously, domestic issue going on. Have you...
I don't know of that at this time. Again, I'll let the GBI dig that out, but I don't know personally of any call history that we've had it or have not had it in the past.
But you said he was known to the woman who was in the second house.
Right, yes. It sounds like he knows both families in that neighborhood. And what the relationships are, I have no idea. We'll continue to dig in and try to figure that out.
And how many children?
I'm not sure where he lives. I will give you his name. It is Dakota Levi Simmons, and he's 24 years old, and he did have a Gainesville address, but I'm not sure the exact address.
And how many kids were in the house where this all...
Yes, ma'am, there were 2 children in the house, and then their mother.
S-I-M-M-O-N-S, Simmons?
That's correct, Simmons, Simmons, Dakota Levi Simmons.
Just verifying the timeline is that the mother and the 2 children, they were evacuated shortly after
The first round of shots, yes. Our officers went in while that shooting was going on to extract those.
During the standoff, there's no hostages or anyone?
No, sir. No, sir.
And when the officer who was hit, was that inside of the house? or
Yes,
out in the yard?
he was hit inside the house, and so one set of officers evacuated him, the other set of officers evacuated the family, and the suspect tried to run out the back door where he engaged our 3rd officer. So just bruising. It did not penetrate. The vest did exactly what it's designed to do, and we're very thankful for that. 1 inch higher, we'd be having a very different press conference right now.
Has he been released now?
Yes, sir. He's been released. That's correct. Yes, sir.
And what did she communicate to the dispatcher stating made her in fear for life and death?
I don't have those details. That's something we'll dig into, but she did quote, "I am in fear of my life," and I'd have to go into the fine details of the call, and I haven't done that.
And you said that she said on the call that this man was armed.
Correct. Yes.
Are you able to tell us the name of the officer who was shot?
Thank you for that. So all of their families have not been notified. We will get that to you in the next couple of hours via both the press release and our social media channels. I want to make sure their families knows what's going on before I release it through the media.
Jay, how long have you been chief of police? Have you ever dealt with anything like this?
So I've been police chief for 7 years now, and yes, we've had, I think this will be our 4th or 5th officer-involved shooting since I've been police chief.
What have the past 12 hours been like?
Very tiring. I was, for a lot of emotions, Ben. I was very hopeful when he engaged in negotiations that this would be a peaceful arrest, but as he became less and less and started firing from inside the residence, my fears came true that we would have to take a life to protect the rest of the neighborhood.
And what time did all of this end?
About 5:30 a.m., roughly.
What's going through your mind when you actually finally saw that picture from the hospital?
Emotion. Could have been my guy, and it wasn't. And very thankful to God that he saved. All right.
Just to recap, so you guys, it was SWAT that went into the house after?
Nobody made it in the second time. He came out into the yard and engaged us in fire when they were surrounded by the SWAT team.
Was he trying to leave?
Yes, I think he was trying to run. He knew that there were officers at the back door, and I think, assuming he was trying to get out the front door to escape, and met both two of our officers and one SWAT operator, where he immediately engaged them in fire, and we had to return fire. Thank y'all for coming out. We will keep you updated via our social media, and I appreciate you covering the story, and thank you for what you do for our community to keep them informed.
Gainesville Police Chief Jay Parrish giving a whole lot of new information on chaotic evening for officers that could have turned very tragic had it not been for one officer's radio and ballistic vest. A bullet fired by the suspect shot at a Gainesville police officer pierced that radio, pierced the ballistic vest, and it hit right here. The police chief showed that image there on the screen right below the officer's neck. You saw the hole there in the radio. He said it also lodged in the vest there. That officer, stable, going to be okay. Going to be released from the hospital to go home with his family this morning. The suspect, on the other hand, was shot and killed after a 6-hour standoff with police. They say he effectively came out guns a-blazing out of that home this morning, firing. At one point, the chief said a lot of gunfire at the SWAT and police who were surrounding that home. They responded with gunfire, and that's when the suspect was hit. Remarkably, no other officer shot in all this. It sounded like a whole lot of bullets were flying all night long, starting at 10:30 p.m., ending around 5:30 this morning. A few other officers had to be taken to the hospital, according to the police chief, to be checked out for high heart rates. Some of them had been in shock, though. They have since been released from the hospital, it sounds like. Now it's a matter of nailing down the relationships between the suspect and the people whose homes he was in. It started off with one woman's home who called police initially and said she felt threatened. She thought her life was in danger by this armed man being inside her home. And then by the time police arrived, he was inside another woman's home. And she was inside there with 2 kids. It was inside that home, the police chief says, that the suspect, shot the officer who, as we found out later, was able to survive from both the mic and the vest, blocking that bullet from entering his chest. Wow, remarkable set of facts coming out of that news conference.